What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the NFL Sunday Night Live Before Lock, presented by No House Advantage. I'm Eric Lindquist, excited to be back with you talking a little NFL here. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and that notification bell. Goes a long way for us here at the channel. Goes a long way for you because you become apprised whenever great content is going live over here. We've got a couple of things going on. So I'm smashing the Rainmaker streets for the most part. I have one really good Joe Mixon lineup doing some stuff, and then Devontae Adams somehow came along for the ride in a couple of lineups for me. Ooh. And then Neil Orfield right now sweating first in the showdown of the Rams-Buccaneers game. He's holding strong there up top. I think we just need this game to end and be over with, and then he can be Correct. Up on the day. We could be two very happy people on the show the rest of the way as long as they just do what they're supposed to do. Kneel before your Lord and Savior, Tom Brady. Do that right now. Neil Orfield at PlayerQDFS on the Twitters. How you doing, my dude?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm a little bit nervous right now, sweating this a little bit. So currently winning 17,000, which would make up for an otherwise abysmal day for me today. It just went horribly today. I did get to a little bit more Justin Fields after hearing you and Savoca on Live Before Lock talking him up. I was like, I got to get to some Justin Fields, but a little bit more from what I had was I think I got to like 3 or 4% probably, thinking that I was going to be like even with the field. And then of course the field came in at 14% and just ruined my day. But I know that you had a pretty good day. You played more than the field, even at 14%. So big day for you.
I mean, yeah, it was wild because I talked about it on Live Before Lock. I was like, oh, he's 4.5%. I feel ridiculous, but I'm going to be jamming a lot of Justin Fields. I'm going to do a lot of it naked, which worked out really well. Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet. I think you probably wanted the Cole Kmet ride if you could lock yourself into that. I think he finished as the top tight end, but yeah, it ended up being something where, you know, I felt like that was the right way to go about it. He's got something figured out where they have this read option. He's running a lot. I really like what they've tried to incorporate into his game a little bit more, play to his strengths. He's never going to be the best, most pretty pocket passer that there is in the NFL, but pretty excited about that. Let's see. Let's get this game over with. God, live sweating it. Now I'm so nervous for you.
It's 3rd and 5 now. So it's like, just get, they just ran it 1 yard. Tampa gets the ball back. If Mike Evans does anything, I think I'm dead.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was hoping that was going to be the end of it.
It's going to be inside of a minute. It's going to be inside of a minute. Tampa Bay is going to be out there. Mike Evans got drilled in the ribs. I cannot believe he's playing football right now.
He was looking a little bit hurt earlier.
He had 3 guys that basically 3-man tackled him in the middle of the field. Let me just tell you, I jammed my finger in a door, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to hold anything in my left hand for weeks. And Mike Evans is out there playing football after getting like try-tackled. I think that's the only way to describe it, is a try-tackle.
Yeah. I mean, you know what he's got going for him that you don't have? Great drugs. Just the best painkillers in the world.
My hand hurts so much, but it's okay. Hit that like button, everybody. Laffy is not here. Laffy's loved, but where's Laffy? What happened to Julio? I don't know. 7-1 Vikings, baby. That's what I'm talking about, Baldy and the Oaf. You've got 2 Vikings fans on the show right now. Neil Orfield. These are the games that we lose. Like these games that don't really, like you shouldn't have this big of a sweat in this spot. Tyler Heineke actually looked pretty good today. Like that was a weird thing to say. He actually, I thought, almost won them a football game today, him and Curtis Samuel. But hey, if the Vikings are winning those kind of football games, I'm a little bit more bullish on our prospects this year.
Yeah, 7-1. I mean, gotta love that. Now, of course, going to Buffalo next week. We're probably not going to feel so bullish after that game, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
44 seconds, Neil. 44 seconds. Do we even want to pick? Like, I want this game to just end for you.
No, because I don't have the Rams. Actually, one of the teams that's right up there sweating with me has the Rams defense. So if there's a pick, I think I actually lose first. I don't know exactly what I want. I think I just want Tampa to just not get any yards, essentially. I think they're going to be feeding the ball to Mike Evans, and that is going to be the end of me here. But yeah, we'll see.
Cade Otton.
Oh, that's not good for me. Yeah, no, I think Cade Otton was one of those who's like right there. I think that's going to kill me too. Man, I just really needed them to. Yep, I just lost it. That's rough. Went from up 17,000. Now I'm down a couple hundred. Well, I'm in 5th place. Yeah. Oh man, I'm right behind first place now. Yeah, it's not gonna. I have a Cade Otton lineup now.
Oh, Tom Brady. For Cade Otton,
we need Tom Brady. We need Tom Brady now.
Yeah, now if Tom Brady throws it to K. Dotton, actually, I'm live again, maybe.
Oh my
No,
God, guys.
something just happened. I don't know.
This
Now
is
somebody
why
else passed us. All
this
right.
is why we go live on these shows with Neil and myself. Like part of the fun of being able to do it, Neil and myself. We've had some crazy sweats the last couple of weeks. You more than me. This week, I'm pretty locked in. I'm down to 3,400, but I'm okay with that. Like that's a really good Sunday for me. I'm very, very happy. Shout out Rainmakers of all things. I figured out the right code, getting a lot of Joe Mixon in the rare contests. In the legendaries, I got up to Joshua Palmer, found a way to buy a couple of those. We'll see if Demarcus Robinson plays tomorrow, because I feel like I'm the only person who bought any of those during the course of the week. I didn't know he was going to pop up questionable on the injury report today, but hey, it's going to be freaky. But Gus Edwards not going to play football. But yeah. I know a lot of you are here to talk the Sunday night football game, and we will get right to it. But again, had to be, Scotty Miller catch. Did that do anything for you?
I think I lost all of my money now. I was at one point, I was just a little bit ago, I was down 200. Now I'm down like another 1,000 after whatever's just happened. So yeah.
Fantastic. Let's talk tonight's football game.
Yeah, let's talk tonight's football game.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, my guy. Kansas City got steamed up to 14. Yes, 14-point favorites. The 5-2 Tennessee Titans facing the 5-2 Kansas City Chiefs. It's clear skies. It's beautiful there in Kansas City, Missouri. Yeah, you heard me. Missouri, that's where it's at. Looking at these two teams, you got Malik Mills playing quarterback once again for the Tennessee Titans, going up against Patrick Mahomes. Feels like a little bit of a mismatch. We will get to all of those things, but before we dig into the quarterbacks and go position by position like we always do on the show, anything you want the people to know about tonight's game? Anything that stands out to you before we dive in?
It's a really tough game for me to really judge because we've got Malik Willis made his, I don't know if it was his first career start last week.
Yeah, he did not
look good at all. He has not been rushing at all so far in the NFL. He was a great rusher in college. So I'm factoring that in. I'm assuming that he is a rushing quarterback still at this point just because he was so great in college.
Otten touchdown. Did that do anything?
I don't know.
You just asked for the Otten TD?
That was before some stuff happened, but we'll see.
Tom Brady. Sounds great. Giselle who, he says. No? He probably didn't
Giselle
say that.
who?
She's pretty hot. She's
no,
pretty
I didn't
rich.
need it. Yeah. No, I'm
You
good.
asked for the K. Otten.
So that was what I needed at the time, and then a couple other things happened. Leonard Fournette became optimal, and that kind of killed me.
It said Neil first. Watch.
What?
You're not first.
No, I'm in 50th place. I am 5 points out of first now. I need the Buccaneers defense to outscore Scotty Miller. So Scotty Miller outscored the Bucs. Damn, Scotty Miller was 9% owned. Okay. So Scotty Miller is what killed me. Yeah. Not happening for me.
Oh my God. Do we have screen share going up for what's going on right now? Is that Tyler Zander pulling that up for the live sweat? Look at this. I absolutely love this. Tyler Zander behind the virtual glass doing God's work, like legitimately God's work. You know who's not doing God's work? Texas freaking A&M. Oh my Lord. What an embarrassing institution.
Not going to pretend I'm paying attention.
The violence is not needed.
Just saying. It's okay. This is great, Tyler. I love the live sweat characteristic of this. Look at it. All right. This is how disturbing Showdown is. Like the 1v1. Can you scroll up a little bit? Can I see the top end of it? Can you screen share yours so I can see exactly what we're looking at live as opposed to 30 seconds of the past? Let's see. Cup.
I mean, I'm not really live at this point. I'm 5 points out of first. I need Tampa Bay to like score 5 points. The only thing that would help me now. So I need
laterals
Stafford to outscore Godwin. And so like I need like a point from Stafford. So it can't be a pick six. Somehow I need Stafford to pick up a point. And then the Bucs defense. There's got to be like a fumble recovery. It's asking a lot. I don't think it's happening here.
All right. Oh, Eric McPherson. Been catching up on the High Stakes podcast with Neil Orfield. Some really good interviews in the last few episodes. I would say so. I would say you're pretty good at that.
One Eric McPherson was one of those interviews.
Was he really? Oh, that's what it is. It was a shameless, selfish plug, if you will.
He might not have been Karen talking about himself.
Okay.
That was a few ago, I guess.
All righty. Let's dive into the football game that the people are here to talk about. Ken, we've got 53 minutes to talk about it. I think we'll give you all the ins and outs for the showdown goodness, but wanted to do a little live sweat there. Pretty good stuff. Great job, Tyler Zander, pulling that up on the fly. We'll watch and see. Maybe Tampa Bay can somehow, some way, get a pick six. False start there. 9 seconds left to go. Always great. So many false starts in that Arizona-Seattle game. I got my over, but my God, figure your shit out, Arizona offensive line. But Tennessee, 5-2. Kansas City, 5-2. Malik Willis, we got to talk about it. He can run the football. We saw it in the preseason. I will tell you that much. We saw it in the preseason. Now, 6 for 10, whatever. Derrick Henry got fed like an absolute bell cow that he is. Looked fantastic against Houston. That's usually what a running back looks like when they go for over 200 yards for the 4th straight time against the same team. But Malik Willis is a very volatile piece of today's slate, I think. I'm curious where you stand on him coming into tonight's festivities.
Yeah, so as you say, he's a little bit over-owned currently in the captain spot, coming in at 5% owned, 4% optimal in the util spot. Almost exactly neutral, 31.3% ownership in the util spot, 31.4% optimal. My latest, I have 24% Malik Willis in the flex, and in the captain spot, I have 12%. So I'm over the field in the captain spot, under the field in the util, which is counter to what the tools say. The tools would say he's over-owned, but I'm making the assumption that he is going to be a rusher today, that he's going to be using his legs a little bit more to try and keep up with Kansas City. I have no idea if that's the case. Obviously, we have a really small sample size with Malik Willis. Maybe they learned something from the Bears, letting Justin Fields use his legs a little bit more. Maybe they learned that they need to do that a little bit with Malik Willis. But I have not a lot of confidence one way or another in Malik Willis. To be honest, this is one of those slates. There are some showdown slates where I come in and I feel really confident in some contrarian plays. I don't feel all that confident in my contrarian plays or a lot of my even the higher owned play. Like, this is a slate where I'm taking some stands. One of the stands I'm taking is heavier on Malik Willis in the captain spot, hoping that he will rush the ball a little bit.
I think he's going to be somebody that you could play as the only piece of Tennessee in like a 5-1, and it's still going to be okay. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Getting to Derrick Henry as the 5-1 makes very little sense to me, because I feel like you're going to run into the exact combinations of those lineups constantly. I think if you're going to be building out where, just like the books say, it's a 14, it's gotten steamed all the way up to 14 with official ruling that Ryan Tannehill is going to be inactive tonight. I find Malik Willis to be a really good piece to be getting to. We'll see as things change a little bit here. We found that news out, half an hour ago, 45 minutes ago. So as the tools update, as things are changing, we'll keep you guys apprised. But Malik Willis, mostly quarterbacks are just really good plays. Now, if they feed Derrick Henry 30 times, like I do expect them to, I will say, yeah, there's a slight bit of negative correlation, but I do think he's a very interesting piece to have be the 5-1, or, even in very heavy Tennessee builds, which I think are actually kind of viable. Jeffrey Simmons, obviously into this football game. That's important for me. A lot of other pieces that I'm paying attention to from the Titans side that I think defensively, they might be able to give him some kind of looks. But yeah, Jeffrey Simmons, one of the official defensive players that matter, him playing was something I was paying attention to a lot. Tennessee, you give me 14 points, I will be laying that. But let's jump over to Patrick Mahomes. I heard he's really good at football, Neil.
He's okay. Yeah, he's Patrick Mahomes coming in neutral in the captain spot, 18% projected ownership, 18% optimal. In the util spot, he's actually under-owned, coming in at 63% projected ownership, 68% optimal. That's right in line with where I am. I don't have him in 100% of my lineups, but I have Patrick Mahomes in nearly 90% of my lineups overall. He's going to be in the captain spot 20% of the time. Yeah, it's hard to argue with Mahomes. He's got, the only downsides to Mahomes are that salary, $1,200. He's the most expensive player by far, and that ownership is pretty high. But as you can see in the tools, we think that the ownership is warranted. He's going to be in the vast majority of my lineups.
Yep, he should be. He's one of the best players in football, period.
So, and I guess if we're talking about quarterbacks, we should say how we are correlating them, because every piece of content that I do about Showdown, I mention like how I plan to correlate. Malik Willis, I am treating as though he is a rushing quarterback, even though we haven't seen it in the NFL so far. So I'm allowing to have Malik Willis in the captain spot without any pass catchers from Tennessee. I'm just giving boost to all of his pass catchers with the hopes that I'm going to generally have at least one, often two pass catchers from Tennessee when I have Malik Willis in the captain spot, but I'm not requiring it. And then same thing in the flex spot. I'm not requiring it, obviously, but I am giving boost to his pass catchers. So I'm more likely to get to some Tennessee pass catchers to pair with him. even though we haven't seen it. I don't have any reason to do that except for in college he was a good rusher. Hopefully he can figure it out in the NFL in this game. So I'm allowing for it to happen with Malik Willis. With Patrick Mahomes, I'm just requiring one pass catcher, regardless of where I have him in MVP or the flex spot. He does have a little bit of rushing upside. He could score a touchdown on the ground. Not the best rusher in the world, but enough that I'm willing to play Patrick Mahomes in the MVP spot with just one pass catcher.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Malik Willis, he third rounder out of Liberty. He played at Auburn, I think, for a year or whatever. Anyway, he transferred to Liberty. He was an absolute standout there, but did it with his arms and his legs. You're going to do it with your arms when you play at Liberty if you're any good. And then with his legs, he just added a whole nother dimension. Threw for 27 passing touchdowns in 2021. This being his rookie season, they basically put the kitty gloves on him against Houston. Just said, Derrick Henry, go ahead. And well, if they end up down 2 scores, I think you could be running into some spots where, hey, Malik Willis will have to throw. He did not look good throwing, though. I will say that. I'm glad you brought that up because I do think the most interesting thing about this showdown is the fact that any Tennessee pass catcher is below 25%. I don't know if I've ever seen that on a showdown slate in my life.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, I hadn't really noticed that. But yeah, Robert Woods leading with 24% projected ownership. We've got Nick Westbrook at just 14%. Who else do we even have here who's getting any ownership?
Literally nobody. Not a single pass catcher. It's Derrick Henry and then the rest of the Tennessee Titans.
I guess Chris Conley, 3.4% ownership. Yeah, we're just not getting. Oh, Cody Hollister at 11%. Okay, so Cody Hollister's getting a little bit, but yeah, in general, very low ownership for these Tennessee guys.
Yeah, Hollister. I don't think you're too old. I think you're 5 years old. I'm 35. I don't know.
39.
Yeah. You're 39. I was going to say I knew you were close, but I have a feeling you didn't wear as much Hollister stuff in high school as I did.
Yeah, not a ton.
I don't know where to go with that conversation other than to say it's awkward.
Guys, I can't really remember what Hollister looks like, to be honest. I wore like the freshman year, I wore some Abercrombie and Fitch, which I think is similar.
I like girls that wear Abercrombie and Fitch.
Yeah.
Hit the like button so I don't sing anymore. Also, head to the video description box below. Click on the BetMGM link, my friends, because right now we have an insane promotion going with them where you can get 2 months of everything behind the Stokastic Plus paywall for free. Yes, 2 months. If you are in a legal betting state, you have an opportunity to bet up to a $1,000 risk-free bet when you sign up, make a deposit, and put your first paid wager over at BetMGM. And then we're going to get you 2 months of all of our tools just for trying it out. Now, you don't have to put $1,000 on the risk-free bet. God forbid. You could put $20. You could put $50. You could put up to $150. But as soon as that bet settles, you're going to get the opportunity to check out all we have behind the paywall. So maybe betting isn't your thing. I don't really care. I bet DFS is your thing if you're watching this program right now. And that means BetMGM is the best spot you could possibly sign up at right now because it will get you those DFS tools for 2 free months. When you bet $10 or more, you got to deposit at least $10, play $10 on the wager. And when it settles, so don't do some futures bet for LeBron James he's not. That's the funniest thing I've ever said in my entire life. I was just watching the Lakers-Cavs game. My Lord, Lakers, you guys are something else. But put something that isn't a futures bet out on BetMGM. You put $10 or more, and you're going to get 2 months of Stokastic Plus Platinum completely free. That is good times. Sign up now. Check out the video description box below for the BetMGM link. Take advantage of that right meow. All right, y'all. The time has come. If the Tennessee Titans are going to be competitive, I bet a 47.4% owned Derrick Henry has something to do with it. The man has now ran over 104 straight. The man has carried this team on his back. He put the team on his back. 5-2 Tennessee Titans. Tannehill out last week. Did not matter because Derrick Henry exists. Kansas City's really good, though, at stopping the run. How are you feeling about Derrick Henry going into tonight's slate?
Yeah, Derrick Henry carried the ball. Did you say it's 32 times last week? 30 the week before, 28 the week. Like they are handing him the ball over and over. And, it seems to be working okay. They've won their last 5 games. So I don't see any reason they're going to be going away from Derrick Henry. I'm currently above the field on Derrick Henry. I think in both spots I've got 54% in the util spot. In the captain spot, I've got 16%, so just over the field there. Yeah, I mean, Derrick Henry's a smash play this week. They're just feeding him the ball. I assume they're going to continue feeding him the ball. I am still doing my lineup, so I say these numbers that I have currently, and it's going to change as I keep recrunching. But I'm going to have a lot of Derrick Henry, regardless of what else I do.
As am I. It feels, though, like I don't want him to be in 5-1 builds. Do you kind of feel the same way?
5-1 with the Chiefs?
Yeah, with 5 Chiefs, I don't want him to show up in those kind of lineups.
I don't know. I feel like he's like game script proof. Like they're going to be giving him the ball regardless. Yeah. So I don't know that I care that much.
Okay.
I get what you're saying. Like, he's negatively correlated, at least in theory, but I think that he's game script proof. So I don't really mind it.
I think it has more to do with he's the one Tennessee Titan everybody wants to play. And I feel like I'm going to run into more dupe situations that I don't even want to deal with in those builds in like large field. And so, I mean, I don't even know necessarily how to go through and make a rule where he doesn't show up in 5-1s. I guess it would have to be like 2 specific different crunches where I did one where I just made like the minimum players 2 from Tennessee and had Derrick Henry in. And then as soon as I change it to 5,
you could just make Derrick Henry your key player and then say play at least one of anybody else from that.
That's what I'm going to do. Thank you. I was trying to figure out how to do it. Just like, I don't know, 10 minutes before the show. I was just kind of thinking through it. I was like, why didn't I land on that? Well, there you go. I'm going to make him my key player. I'm going to make sure I don't get any 5-1s with him just because I feel like the most optimal way of building, people might run into like 4-2s, Derrick Henry, obviously part of that, 5-2s or 5-1s, Derrick Henry, a part of that. I think on FanDuel, though, I wanted to ask you because I'm not playing FanDuel today. I know you kind of play all over the place, but his captain optimal percentage is 3rd best on the slate at 10%. I think he might end up overowned in that position at 16K, considering he's only 500 away from Patrick Mahomes. How are you planning to utilize him on FanDuel.com?
So I have not started building yet. That's an interesting question. As you say, we have negative leverage on Derrick Henry. The way that I build, leaving salary on the table, I mean, he is the second most expensive. I honestly, I would guess that I come in over that 10% number. I think I'm probably going to use the same cap I usually use, which is 20% on captains on MVPs on FanDuel. So somewhere between 10 and 20% would be my guess where I'm at with Derrick Henry, but hard to say. I haven't started building FanDuel yet. I don't really like, I do feel like he's one of those players who is the likeliest to be the highest scoring player on this slate. 17% chance of being the top scorer. I guess I don't know how I'm approaching yet. Probably between 10 and 20%. That's all I can really say right now. I mean, it's hard because he's clearly like he's one of the guys on this slate who has the upside of breaking the slate and being the highest scoring player. The salary hurts a little bit. The chances of me getting to that much of him, just because I do set a salary cap just to avoid being duplicated. So my guess is I'll be under the field, but probably not by a ton.
Yeah, I mean, you're the best showdown player on planet Earth, so me getting to talk through these kind of exercises with you matters a lot. Again, it was just a thought I had coming into this slate where I think a lot of showdown for me is avoiding duplication and knowing that one lineup, the one time, is all it will take to overcome hundreds of slates of losses. It's just what it is for showdown, and want to do my best to give myself the best opportunity every slate.
Absolutely. That's the goal. You just want to make lineups that are unique, but have a real shot at winning. And that's the goal. And I feel like Derrick Henry, you don't want to just omit Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry clearly has the upside to break a slate. He's a lot more likely to be the optimal MVP than a Cody Hollister. There are only so many players you can go to. You could just go to more of, Mahomes and Kelsey. The other guys kind of in that bucket. But I'm going to have some Derrick Henry. I don't know if I'll get up to the field at 18% on FanDuel.
Over under. Imagine fading D. Henry. I'm not fading D. Henry. Don't get us wrong. That is not what we're saying at all. It was just a question about FanDuel in the captain spot where half point PPR. I don't know. I still feel like going the Mahomes route with the chalk up top there. He's a top scorer more than half the time. Tough to get away from that, I think.
Wow, that's massive.
I know. Isn't it wild looking at that? 53.1% of the time he's the top scorer. That doesn't mean he's the top optimal, because salary is a thing. So there are ways where Derrick Henry slows down the game. Maybe he ends up, in that captain spot, and then You have everybody else funnel below it, or Malik Willis busts off a 50-yarder. That's definitely in his range of outcomes. So lots of ways I think that you can go about building this, but I wanted to talk through FanDuel because I think, generally speaking, playing Showdown, it's like, oh, well, Derrick Henry might be more useful there. Doesn't really look like it when you see Patrick Mahomes 53.1% in that spot. But how do you feel about Dontrell Hilliard? Because I feel like we all understand he's going to be the number 2 running back here in this spot. He can be the pass catcher. If they end up way down really, really quickly, I think he becomes interesting. But it's not like Ryan Tannehill's throwing the check down situations to Dontrell Hilliard. Maybe that changes a little bit. He's at 10.4%. How do you feel about him on today's slate?
Yeah, I'm not taking a huge stand. I'm probably going to be a little bit underweight to the field on Dontrell Hilliard as things stand. I'm curious actually I haven't looked at what the tools say for Dontrell Hilliard specifically yet. Do we only have him at 1 point? Oh, I'm on FanDuel. So on FanDuel,
he's the second most negatively leveraged player. He's the most negatively leveraged Titan in the utility.
Okay. Yeah. So I have FanDuel pulled up, and I talked about this last night on, or not last night, whenever, I guess Thursday on Live Before Lock. I do so many shows.
Talked about, buddy, welcome to the family. Welcome to the family.
Yeah. I know you do more than anybody. But we talked about how on FanDuel, sometimes these guys that just have a shot at scoring a touchdown, I like better. Just be like on FanDuel, they come in Dontrell Hilliard, 1.8% projected ownership, 2.6% chance of being optimal. And I just like guys better. Oh, actually, I think I'm reading this wrong. The columns are different on FanDuel, 6.1% ownership. 2.6% optimal maybe is what this says. I don't know. Anyway, I sometimes like these guys better on FanDuel because you're not dealing with the full PPR and the bonuses and stuff. So it's easier for players that just score a random touchdown to outscore volume players, like the guys who catch 5 balls. On DraftKings, that's 5 points right there. On FanDuel, that's just 2.5 points. So a touchdown is easier to catch them. So sometimes guys like Dontrell Hilliard, I like better on FanDuel because people don't want to go there. He's 8,000. Clearly that salary is a turnoff. You see $8,000 next to Dontrell Hilliard. Obviously you don't want to play it. But then if he's the only guy that scores a touchdown for Tennessee coming in at low ownership, I like him a little bit better on FanDuel in particular than DraftKings. On DraftKings, I think I am going to be under the field to Dontrell Hilliard. We've got him at like 10% owned. And that's too much for Don. He's 4,200. Yeah, we've got him at 11% projected ownership. I'm not going to be with the field on Dontrell Hilliard. I'm going to play some. I'm going to probably have somewhere in the single digits. Currently, I've got 4.7%. That seems about like where I want to be.
All right. Larry C coming in with a great question. Hey, Eric Lindquist or Neil. You could put in Neil Orfield's name. He deserves our love and respect. I love the man. Shout out Minnesota, our Timberwolves. We'll talk about them later when we have time. But Larry C, what's the 2 to 6/2 to 5% in the boom bust? So the probability that a player will be ranked 2 to 6, meaning that they're going to be somebody who shows up out of your 5 in the util. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean utility optimal. And that's where you're going to see a slight difference between the numbers. It could show up more in the utility optimal, like Patrick Mahomes, even though he might not necessarily show up 2 to 6 a higher majority of the time because he will show up so many times as the top scorer. His optimal percentage is going to be higher than that number. Now, other players, it might be a little bit lower. Like if you look at CEH, it goes from 13.8% to 6.5%. Now, I don't always try to like mathlead it up here because, it's one of those things. I try to dumb it down to the most understandable ways. Basically, when you're looking at it, understand that it's simply knowing that if you're going to be very overweight on a piece of chalk, you probably are running into more of a utility optimal, like a Patrick Mahomes. So it's a little bit safer, a little bit better of a play to be way overweight to than somebody like CEH. That's kind of the way I understand it. Anything you want to add to that, Neil?
No, I think that was a great explanation.
Okay. I tried to do it as best I could because I rarely see this many great spots. Great player and great dude. Eric, too. Look at that. Brandon Wagner. He loves you. He says Neil's the man. You know what else? Neil's going to win 300K tonight. I get that feeling in my bones. I get that feeling. Yeah. Twitchy knee or something.
I don't feel that great about it tonight. Like there are nights that I go and I'm like, I feel really good about my plays tonight. Tonight I'm still kind of trying to figure it out, but sometimes those are the nights that you win. The ones that you have like you feel like you don't really have a clear edge, and then things break your way. So we'll see. I'm hoping you're right.
Yeah. Let's go to the probably the most unpredictable part of this entire slate to me is figuring out what the hell is going on with Kansas City's running game. So CEH played a majority of the snaps, even though last game Isaiah Pacheco was announced the starting running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. So generally means, hey, he's going to play a lot more. Well, he did play a lot more than normally. He played 30% of the offensive snaps, but he still was second fiddle to CEH. We haven't seen any news about it today. I assume CEH just kind of resumes being the starter, or maybe they just say, hey, Pacheco, take a couple snaps early here, and then we'll mix CEH in per usual. But I will say it was a smaller allotment than I was even expecting. I thought maybe he would get to around 40-50%. And then Jerick McKinnon actually led the backfield in terms of snaps in that game. Maybe that was a revenge spot in Kansas City. They also got way up, so that fourth quarter kind of skews numbers a certain way. How do you feel about Kansas City's RB situation? Because I think it's an absolute abysmal situation.
Yeah, I'm with you that it's a headache. It's really hard to read the situation. I am treating it like Jerick McKinnon is going to get the heavier workload here from Kansas City. The reason being that I feel like there was at least there was a drive that CEH scored a touchdown. The problem is, did I say Jerick McKinnon? I meant Isaiah Pacheco. I don't know what I said. Either way,
Pacheco.
I think Pacheco is the lead back. I think that there was a drive that CEH scored a touchdown. It was after Pacheco returned a kickoff like 50 yards. So like he was winded. They took him out. CEH goes in, and then CEH was kind of like on a roll, and they just left him in there. Maybe that was a real deal. Maybe they do want to use CEH, and obviously he was doing well, so maybe he did win back that job in that situation too.
Not really.
Makes it a little bit harder.
Again, McKinnon had 44% of the snaps.
Yeah. So I like Pacheco quite a bit. I was hoping that he was going to get like no ownership because it looked like CEH retained that role. Like I was like, is the field going to miss that? Might have been a situational thing. We've got him at 27% though, which seems
CEH
about
just
right.
Had to get the touchdown. He only played 27% of the snaps against San Francisco. Yeah, but again, that fourth quarter didn't matter. So like, does that mean 45% would have been the number as opposed to Jerick McKinnon, who played almost the entire fourth quarter? I just don't know.
I know. Yeah, it's a tough situation to read. I'm currently getting to the most of Pacheco of that group. He's the cheapest. And then I'm getting to currently at 22% Pacheco, 11% McKinnon, and 13% CEH. It might change drastically leading up to lock as I change some other things in my lineups. I don't feel that strongly about it, but my assumption here is going to be that Pacheco gets the bulk of the carries, but it clearly is still a three-headed monster. So it's none of them are getting like 70, even 60% of the carries. So I'd rather take the guy who's cheaper when none of them are getting that much of the workload.
All right. Well, we kind of talked about everything all encompassing there. Check out this. This is pretty cool. Guillaume Bly, I'm going to assume maybe French. I'm going to France over the weekend. We'll find out. Guillaume Bly that we have going here, playing one lineup for $1. And I am still here building my lineup like it really matters. I like this channel too much. We love having you. Your like counts the same as somebody who's putting 100K in play. And also, it doesn't matter. Everybody's at different levels. Everybody's playing different stakes. Everybody's playing different large field, or some people like cash games. We're here to cater to all of you. We appreciate you being here. So shout out. Love it. Love seeing the Stokastic badge next to your name too. Get those over here in the YouTube streets. Let's see. Pacheco, McKinnon, Hilaire. Pacheco is getting the most ownership, but I think assuming that he's continually the starter here, it makes sense. I'm worried that you get in a game where it's a little bit more competitive and everything flips. And that's where I'm very, very nervous about what's going on with this backfield. I'm going to go the highest on McKinnon. Shout out Minnesota. He was lovely back in the day. San Francisco, then to Kansas City, but he's at 3K. And I think people are figuring out CEH or Pacheco. I think people might click on CEH just because of name recognition, not realizing that he only played 27% of snaps, 27% of snaps last week. That is fascinating. I think I'm going to get to McKinnon the most, Pacheco second, and CEH third.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. It's really hard to read. I think you can do whatever you want here. But it was funny in Ian Rappaport's report last week with the Isaiah Pacheco. He said, yeah, so this week they're switching things up, and now it's going to be Pacheco starting with CEH, and then just a splash of McKinnon. And then, of course, we see McKinnon have the most carries, which is the most Ian Rappaport thing you've ever seen. But it's hard to read. It's hard to read.
Yeah, just punch me in the face. Actually, don't do that. Go to No House Advantage, where you can punch your opposition in the face, not literally, but in the figurative form. And here's why. Everybody can basically win over there. Overlay has been off the charts the last couple weeks. And I don't say that just because they're the sponsor of our site. I say it because I want to win you guys money. And the best place you can win money tonight is at No House Advantage. You simply go over there, use promo code Stokastic when you sign up. You get up to a $50 first match deposit bonus. So you deposit 50, you'll get 50, you'll have $100 to play. That's 6 lineups in this $15. That's, one that would be in that $10 triple up. The $15 is only 39% full. 470 out of 1,200 total entries that are going towards that tournament. 5K to first, massive overlay. You pick 7 players in Showdown over there. You're going to get confidence spots. So 7, you'd put the best prop up top there. They have every player you can imagine to incorporate into those builds. Now, don't play Ryan Tannehill. He's ruled out. So that would be a 0. So do not click on his name when you're building lineups over there. But in the event that you're saying, oh, I don't have time to build lineups over there, I'm worried about DraftKings and FanDuel. Well, we have free lineups for you. Free projections over at No House Advantage. All you have to do is go to our NFL tab and go to the Showdown and single game data, and we have it all sitting there for you. We have the projections. You go to NHA, NFL lineups, and you will be able to play instantly everything over at No House Advantage. I'm looking at our top projected lineup. Cody Hollister, under 2.5 receptions. Derrick Henry, under 96.5 rushing yards. Everything on the top line. You could basically copy paste that and play over at NHA today. So take advantage of it. Download the app over at the App Store or at Google Play and start winning some money. Yeah, I don't want shingle. I don't know why it came out like shh. I don't know where that came from, but nohouseadvantage.com. Check it out. Thank you so much to them for their sponsorship of our lovely site. But most importantly, thank you for overlay. It is so hard to find nowadays on DraftKings, FanDuel, Yahoo, wherever else you might be playing. No House Advantage is basically paying you to take advantage of it. And they have Versus the House that's very similar to competitors, other things where you're able to play player props. They have a bunch of NHL ones. They have some NBA props going for tonight. Paul George, Jordan Clarkson, Lauri Markkanen. You can win up to 21x. Yes, you heard me. 21x your money. So if you put $10 in, you have a chance to win up to $210 just by trying out the player props over there. So check it out. It's really cool stuff. Plus a bunch of great opportunities for you guys over on Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 38.5 receiving yards. Take that one to the bank. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Put that in everything over at No House Advantage today.
Still doing the yes thing, huh?
Oh, buddy. We're not even there yet.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going.
Oh, yeah. I know where you're going.
Let's talk wide receivers. But we got to start over at the Tennessee Titans side. Malik Willis. What'd you talk about, Willis? Well, I'm talking about the fact that you need to throw the ball more to make these guys effective, more than 10 times. Now, Robert Woods is expensive there. Robert Woods is presumed the best wide receiver there. I think he probably is, but it doesn't really matter if they're not throwing the football. He's only got 21.8% ownership going his direction. Do you want more or less than that in the utility spot on DraftKings.com?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have a little bit more than that. I currently have 27% Robert Woods in the utility spot. I just think after Derrick Henry, he is the most talented player on the team. Probably he's the one who's, he's the veteran who maybe the rookie quarterback is going to trust the most. I would expect him to be, the biggest target for Malik Willis. So yeah, I'm above the field on Robert Woods in the util spot. I've got 7.4% in the captain spot. I'm not taking a huge stand there, going a little bit above the field, but I'm happy to have a little bit above the field on Robert Woods. I think he's a talented receiver and should be the number one option for Malik Willis.
Yeah, it's also no Treylon Burks, no Kyle Phillips. I mean, it's basically the best wide receiver there by default at this point. Both of those guys, I think, are going to have opportunities to get better here. Chris Conley, revenge spot here, 3.5%. That's kind of interesting. But Nick Westbrook-Akina, you've got Cody Hollister, your boy. I don't know. I prefer Abercrombie. I did. I'm not going to lie to the people.
That's what I said. I said I wore Abercrombie in freshman year of high school. Yeah, I never wore Hollister.
We looked good doing it too.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
had some like beauties in the Midwest. Streaks of blonde in my hair. It was a beautiful thing.
Except for here's the problem: you go into those stores and it was the smell. I couldn't get the cologne smell out of my life. It was the worst. I hated it. I hated the smell of it so much, and I think my allergies hated it too.
It was awful. It was a terrible thing.
Bad. Those were dark times. But anyway, how do you feel about Cody Hollister in this spot? Because I feel like we got to play him now.
Yeah, just because of the name, you think we got to play him?
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm going to put that in my model. If I, downgraded your clothing compared to expectation, I don't have a joke. Just talk about these other wide receivers.
Well, on top of the name, he saw I guess not a season high. No, yeah, it was a season high of snaps. He played 55% of snaps last week, Cody Hollister. So he seems to be kind of picking up steam in this offense. That's going to help in our top showdown plays tool. Am I on DraftKings here? Yes, I'm on DraftKings. Cody Hollister is one of the more positively leveraged. He has positive leverage. I guess he's not extremely positively leveraged, but we've got him at under 1% ownership in the captain spot, 1.7% optimal, 11% ownership in the utility spot, 12% optimal. So a little bit of positive leverage on Cody Hollister. As I said, he played 55% of snaps last week. I think he's probably the number 2 receiving option for Malik Willis. We don't have a huge sample size to go on here, but last week he played 55% of snaps. That was second most among wide receivers. So I'm treating him as the wide receiver 2. He's 200 and not getting a ton of ownership. So no real reason to go away from him. If you were getting, 30% ownership, then I might say, this is small sample size. We really shouldn't read too much into this, but he's not getting a ton of ownership. So I'm willing to just read what the information that we have, and the information we have would suggest that he is the number 2 receiver for the Titans. So I'm going to treat him as such.
I think that that's fair. I think he's going to be the number 2 as well. So we're on the same page there. Anything else to hear? We got to talk about the Chiefs, because this is going to be what we spend the most time with on our program. Again, Tennessee, I find it fascinating that everybody's under 25% owned in terms of pass catchers, but I think it's appropriate. Kansas City, we obviously know Travis Kelce, pretty unfadable if you're playing a bunch of lineups here, but at the wide receiver position, let's play a little tea leaves situation here, because Kadarius Toney gets added to this wide receiver core. He is immensely talented. He's also immensely overpriced for a guy who had a quote-unquote hamstring injury and is coming in for a first game after a hamstring injury here at 6,800. I expect him to be dynamic. I do expect him to be very, very good for this offense, but not tonight. I think you have to be looking at MVS. Now, also, Kadarius Toney, look at some of his snap rates as opposed to, like when he was in New York there, coming back over here to Kansas City. Does he steal away the slot from Juju? I definitely don't think so. Juju's going to be there primarily. MVS, I think the snap share had more to do with an absolute blowout. He had played over 80% of the snaps in weeks 5 and 6, comes out, plays south of 60% in that blowout win against San Francisco. I'm not worried. Give me all of the $5,400 MVS in all of the land. Who is your favorite wide receiver from the Kansas City side?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with Kadarius Toney. If we think he is a full go, I think that he might be, just based. So this Schefter tweet: new Chiefs wide receiver Kadarius Toney has recovered from the grade 2 hamstring pull he suffered in week 2 while playing for the Giants.
Of course he has.
He could have played for Kansas City last week, but the bye week gave him one more week to get healthy, and he will be active versus the Giants. To me, that seems like he's healthy. Like he's, and he's had an extra week to recover, and he's a talented receiver. They have not really gotten much out of the receivers. I think that it's certainly possible that Kadarius Toney is a full go and is actually a big part of this offense. I do think that he's talented. So yeah, it's a tough read with all of these receivers. I'm going to treat him like he is actually going to be playing, at least on one of the sites. I haven't decided. Let's see, on FanDuel, Kadarius Toney's getting under 10% ownership. I think I might take a bigger stand on Kadarius Toney there and try and get above the field. Sorry, that's on DraftKings. On DraftKings, he's coming in. Yeah, no, I'm taking a stand. Actually, as we're talking about this, I'm like, I need to get to more Kadarius Toney, because coming in at under 10% ownership, if I think he's a full go and he's 6,800, I like him. I like Kadarius Toney quite a bit. Currently, I have the least of him of these 3 receivers. I think outside of Kadarius Toney, MVS is my favorite of the Chiefs. He's the one that I'm getting to the most. I'm under the field on MVS right now. He's 26% ownership. I'm at 24%. He is currently the Chiefs receiver that I'm getting to the most of. I think that might stay. It might be MVS, then Kadarius Toney, then Mecole Hardman, and then just a few flyers on Sky Moore and Justin Watson. I don't feel strongly about those guys.
Yeah, my highest owned players are Patrick Mahomes, MVS, Travis Kelce, Derrick Henry, and Kadarius Toney. So to say that we are on the same wavelength is kind of is probably underselling it. I think he is going to be incredible instantly for Kansas City. I don't know what happened with him and the Giants. I don't understand it. I know Saquon Barkley was always going to be the center part of that offense, rightfully so. He's an absolute freak, but with Daniel Jones throwing the football, maybe Kadarius Toney just tried to push his way out, find himself anybody that could throw a football. And guess what? Patrick Mahomes, probably the best at it in the NFL. Going to be unbelievable to watch Kadarius Toney. I'm just telling you guys ahead of time. If you don't remember Kadarius Toney's upside games last season, let me just tell you, the guy is hashtag special. He's hashtag special.
Yep. Yeah, he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that we are on the same page there. I think Kadarius Toney with Patrick Mahomes could be just cheat code. That could be a really fun duo there. Yeah, I'm going to be getting to some more Kadarius Toney. Now I'm wondering if I'm playing still too much of Justin Watson and Sky Moore. Like, I kind of thought Sky Moore was going to be inactive for this game, but he's playing. So
yeah, I bet he punt returns if I had a guess.
That could be just his role. He could just be the punt. That's a good point. He is a punt returner, so that's probably the reason he's active.
That was my thinking, at least. I have 0% of him, so it's fine.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. I think I'm going to get to some just because that's how I play.
Right.
It's weird in some ways on Showdown. I'm risk averse. Like I hate to get 0% of guys that I think have a chance to be played. Which I probably should take more of those risks. To be honest, I'd probably be a better player if I did. But I'm going to get to a little bit. But Kadarius Toney on FanDuel is only 7,000, and he's only getting 7.7% ownership. I actually think that Kadarius Toney, I like him even better on FanDuel. So I'm gonna jam there a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I like him on DK too. 6,800. It takes one play. He's kind of in the vein of a Deebo Samuel. He's kind of in that vein. Deebo, no disrespect to Deebo Samuel because he's an absolute monster at what he does, but wanted to be known he's an absolute freak and can play that type of role. He's going to be another yak guy. You have a 30 implied total. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for him. Hardman kind of gets left by the wayside a little bit, but he's right now in our tools pulling 20% ownership. I would much rather go over on Kadarius Toney, be about at the field on Hardman, and move on with my day. I'm just taking an aggressive undercutting of Juju. I want that to be known.
Okay. Yeah. I left Juju out when I was ranking my Kansas City receivers. I have 20% Juju, so a little bit less than MVS right now. We'll see what happens as I do. Actually, I am upping my exposure to Kadarius Toney, so things are going to change, but that's where I've got it right now.
All right, y'all, hit that like button. I think little man in the chat there, Nikolai Lepre, if you will, my boy, my son over there, he said to do it. So I think he's on the right. Train there. Dave Broom, can y'all hit on cash game thoughts? I absolutely will. I can do that for you in the 15 minutes leading up. I think that's something that can be done. But first, we got to jump to tight end. And this is where Travis Kelce really stands out as a very good play. Oh, shocker. The best tight end in football is a good play on today's slate. Imagine that, Neil Orfield.
Yeah, it's hard. I feel like I keep on taking stands against Travis Kelce on these slates. I'm like, one of these weeks they're going to go to the receivers instead of Travis Kelce.
You can't keep getting away with it.
You can't keep getting away with this. I have lowered my projection on Travis Kelce. I think like a full fantasy point, maybe. I don't know, but I'm still getting to above the field in the flex spot. I'm getting to 51% currently. And in the captain spot, I'm getting to 19%. I actually think that I want to cut back a little bit from there. It's dangerous to cut back on Travis Kelce. He's just so clearly a great play. He is Patrick Mahomes' number one target. I don't know what else you really need to say. Everybody knows what Travis Kelce is. He's a beast out there. He's Patrick Mahomes' favorite target. If he fits in your lineup and you can still leave some salary on there or get unique, I think that it's he's a great play.
Unique New York. He makes sense. And I wanted to start at the tight end position with him because whoop-de-doo. Obviously, he's a phenomenal play. There is Noah Gray. What do you say? He just may. Lay by the bay. He could eat some hay. He just may. How do you feel about Noah Gray?
I actually like Noah Gray quite a bit. I'm taking a little bit of a stand on Noah Gray. He's one of those guys. Of course, now with Kadarius Toney, once I move him up, maybe I'll be taking less of a stand. Actually, the field is at 10%, so I'm taking less of a stand than I thought I was. I am just above I'm at 10.7% on Noah Gray currently. No Jody Fortson today, no Blake Bell. It's one of those rare times where it's pretty clear who is the backup tight end for the Chiefs. Makes it a lot easier. You can just play. You don't have to split it between all these backup tight ends and have to guess which one of them is going to get that fluke underhand touchdown from the 1 yard line. If that happens today, it's probably Noah Gray, or Travis Kelce's. Always getting those two, but I like Noah Gray. It's good to have a pretty clear backup for the Chiefs. I'm going to be right at around 10-11% probably.
Okay. I know four cash game locks. So I will say this: no matter what you're playing, where you're playing, there are four players that are absolutely going to be in your cash games on DraftKings.com. So that's how I'll answer this question for you, Dave Broom. You're going to have Patrick Mahomes. You're going to have Travis Kelce. You're going to have Isaiah Pacheco because he's super cheap and he's presumed to be the starting running back. And you're going to have Derrick Henry as your one Tennessee Titan. Do you have any argument with that, Neil Orfield?
I was not listening that closely, but probably I'm guessing that I agree with you.
I am smart.
Yeah, you're smart. So I think you probably, whatever you said is probably correct. I didn't think that I needed to listen because I just trust whatever you're saying.
Douglas Bowman, $1.99 super chat. Listen up, Neil. This is paid money. Single entry DK. Henry, Hollister, or Hardman. Oh, alliteration for the win. NWI, I don't know what that means, but Henry, Hollister, or Hardman in single entry DK. I think it's Henry and then Hollister or Hardman. I'm not sure what that means, but I think that's what we're going for. Hollister or Hardman?
Probably Hardman. Is this a tournament? Maybe Hollister if it's a tournament. I think that Hardman is has the higher floor, I would think. But obviously, Derrick Henry is a smash. He would be the number. Are you asking about at captain spot? Because then maybe
I don't know. Single entry DK. He's got a 3-person lineup here that doesn't quite make sense. I don't know what the NWI means to that portion. But
I don't either.
Yeah, have you tried to make a Titans onslaught? No, I haven't because I'm not a sick person.
Yeah, that's what a lot of great players like to look at the underdog and make an onslaught lineup. I don't usually worry as much about constructions as a lot of the best players do.
You are the best showdown player, so
I appreciate you saying
worrying
that.
about that. I think worrying about that is something I will not do because you're not worried about it. So that's how I feel. Nick Westbrook Akina. There we go. That's what it is. NWI. So Henry Hollister or Hardman NWI. That's kind of a weird 2v2.
2v2. Okay. Henry Hollister or Hardman.
I got to go Henry Hollister. Yeah. That's a wide gap. I just don't find Hardman to be all that interesting. Now, Hardman went completely nuts and has put over 12 fantasy points a game the last 3. He's done that on low volume, and he's had a couple of these plays that just broke his way. 2 touchdowns against San Francisco. I am aggressively shorting him and Juju today.
Yeah, I think I'm not aggressively shorting him, but now I am focusing on getting to, as I've said, more Kadarius Toney. So maybe I'll get to a little bit under the field there.
Alrighty. Let me make sure everything looks good. We got 10 minutes. It's the final countdown. I don't have any other thing to say other than that. There's that. Make sure you check out NHA. It's still massively overlaid. That's an important thing to go do. So go to No House Advantage right now. Promo code Stokastic, $50 first match deposit bonus. Those are good times because overlays are good times. Let's go tight ends here from Tennessee. Kind of left them off. Okonkwo. That's the coolest name I've ever seen. Chogozim Okonkwo. That's all I got for you. Is he showing up in your lineups? I have more Austin Hooper.
Yeah, so if you just go by the projections on the site, you're going to get a ton of Okonkwo. I don't know. It's hard for me to really understand the projection, or maybe it's possible that it's changed since I last refreshed. But if you look in our tools, we have Okonkwo at where is he? Oh, we don't have positive leverage on him. Okay, so we've got him at 6.4% projected ownership, 4.7% optimal on Okonkwo. I must need to refresh or something because earlier he was looking like he was projected so high that he was getting into all of my lineups and I didn't like it and I was getting away from it anyway. Now it looks like the tools actually agree with what I was thinking. So I'm glad to see that. Yeah, a little bit of negative leverage on Okonkwo. He was involved last week for the Titans. He played 41% of snaps. He's pretty clearly the tight end 2 behind Austin Hooper. Tight ends on Showdown. If you want to buy into that narrative, you can play some Okonkwo. But he's 41%. That's a decent amount. I will have some Okonkwo. I think I might actually be a little bit. I'm going to stay above the field a little bit on Okonkwo, just because the ownership is pretty low. But I'm not going to get to 40% like it was at one point.
How about Mini Cooper in my Air Force Ones? Do you know that song?
I do not.
Okay, good talk. Austin Hooper, how about that?
I like Austin. So Austin Hooper is the tight end 1 for Tennessee. It's hard because we've got this rookie quarterback. Oh, okay. So I'm hearing that was actually the Fantasy Cruncher default projections that I was seeing earlier.
Got it.
So that was throwing me off. We do now have a projection for him. Weird. I usually get the Stokastic. Anyway, so Okonkwo does not look as great in our projections as I thought he did. I like Austin Hooper quite a bit. He's a pretty clear tight end one. He's only 1,800. He's got a rookie quarterback throw into him that should theoretically help him. Hard not to like Austin Hooper a bit here.
Yep. Makes a lot of sense to like Austin Hooper. I think him, and then Jeff Swaim's going to be unowned. Like, he probably should be at 3,400, but the fact that he is the third highest projected dude and all you're looking for is a touchdown from one of these guys, I am way over the field on Jeff Swaim because I feel like, again, projection wise, if we have a Okonkwo higher, if we have Austin Hooper higher, just give me the guy that nobody's playing who's out there to block primarily, but has touchdown equity. So I'm going to play some of him. I'm a sick person.
Yeah, I have a little bit above the field currently. I'm running crunches right now. I'm just a little bit above the field on Jeff Swaim, which happy to be with you there. He's a guy who just is going to take one touchdown at his price tag. So love to see that.
All right, let's get to kicker and defense. They need love too. No discrimination here, Squirrel. We go to the kicker spot. Harrison Butker, Randy Bullock, both of them showing up for me, but Butker far more. 5K. Man, DK starting to price these kickers up. Welcome to the new age. I'm radioactive. Harrison Butker. How much are you getting to today?
I am getting to, my latest crunch, 15% Harrison Butker. I'm fine with that. He's the kicker for the team that's expected to win. He's not overly expensive at 5,000. That's pretty expensive actually for a kicker, but still he is the kicker for the favorite. I would expect him to score some fantasy points. So 15% feels about right for Harrison Butker. Are you taking any big stand there?
Absolutely not. No stand whatsoever.
Okay.
I think that's fine by me. I 17%. I'm fine with that.
Okay. Yeah, that's right around where the field is at. It's hard to take big stands unless the field goes way over or way under. When the field's right in the mid-teens, that's like, yeah, it's probably about where I'm going to be.
Yep, I think so. I will tell you who I'm under on is Randy Bullock.
I'm getting to like 10% Randy Bullock. Just based on projections, I was getting to virtually none. But I upped it a little bit just because, he could score some. They could have some fluky, fumble in the red zone where they just have the ball in the red zone and they end up kicking a field goal. Happens all the time. Even though they're not likely to move the ball very easily, the kicker can put up some points in a hurry. So I have 10-11% Randy Bullock, and that's fine with that number.
All right. Well, we'll talk defense here, but first, hit that like button, everybody. We've got over 1,000 of you. It takes 1 second to just hit that like button. Don't hit it twice. Don't hit the dislike button. That would make me sad. Just hit the like button for Neil Orfield, who's giving you guys the goods every single time hanging out. Carlos Manzo took down the last M/Thursday melee on Underdog. Have to show my appreciation to all things people in Tool Stokastic. Carlos Manzo. That's amazing. That makes me very happy because you're good people. Congratulations and thank you for the crazy super chat there. And then Big Mikey NY21 MVS or Butker on DK. I'm the wrong person to ask.
I don't have a strong take there. If it allows you to leave some, I guess they're around the same salary. You love MVS. I'm going to go with MVS too. I'm sticking with it.
All right, Douglas Bowman, $4.99. My fault on the abbreviation, LOL. But yeah, single entry tournament. Thanks, fellas. No, thank you. Again, if you just put Westbrook Akina, I wouldn't have to think about it whatsoever, but I appreciate it anyway. You're the best. James Tamilkoff, that's a great last name. Is Hilliard a play if fading Henry due to Tennessee potentially trailing by a lot? I think it's more than fine. I think 5-1s, I have more Hilliard than I have of Derrick Henry.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think that's a totally fine play.
Yep, I think he's a great play in those kind of lineups. But again, I don't know how much you're going to get checkdowns from Willis. I feel like you're going to get a lot of running from him, but that's kind of the general thought about a running quarterback is that, they're not going to necessarily have the safety valve where they have to kick it out. But hey, look at Saquon Barkley. He's doing just fine with Daniel Jones as his quarterback. So you never know. Guys, this has been awesome. I can't believe it's already 3 minutes up until lock here. Got all the finishing touches on all my lineups. I have 95% Patrick Mahomes. I'm a little bit under on Travis Kelce too. So Maybe it's a little bit of groupthink here, but 71% Marcus Valdes-Scantling. What could go wrong, Neil? What could go wrong?
Nothing. Nothing's going to go wrong. It's going to be great.
If God MVS is with us, who is against us? Nobody is the answer. Nobody. I have 5% Sky Moore, 5% Tennessee Titans defense. I've gotten some pretty aggressive stands all over the place. Oh, 2 more super chats that came in. Malcolm Revamp, $1.99. What method we going? 5-1, 4-2, 3-3 on DK and FanDuel Cash. I generally don't think about it, but I have very few 5-1 lineups today because I feel like a lot of people are going to be building them. And when I do, I'm going to be using Hilliard primarily. That's what I said. I have 0 Derrick Henry as a run back in 5-1 lineups because I think that will be the chalk way of doing it. I think a lot of ways that could get duped a lot. So I'm avoiding it. Neil, anything you're thinking about in terms of 5-1, 4-2, 3-3?
Honestly, it's not a big consideration for me. I don't really look at it until after the slate. I know a lot of great players do like to do onslaughts with the underdog. So you could think about following their lead and going with, 5-1 Titan stacks or 4-2 Titan stacks. It's certainly an approach that works for a lot of people. It's not really the way that I play.
I took a drink of water in opportune time there. Real question to $4.99 from Douglas Bowman. Real question is MVS or Tony Captain. I love the upside of both tonight. I love the upside of both. I do think MVS is the more quote unquote secure play because he's going to be on the field more than I expect Tony to be by quite a large margin, but I like the upside of both. And I think Tony's going to be lower owned as a result. So both, but I'll lean MVS because he's my boy and God forbid he doesn't pan out.
Yeah, I think we are on the same page there. Sorry, I need to...
upload your lineups. You got 1 minute, by the way, so please do that. Upload your lineups. Guys, smash that like button. We got to get over 200 on this. I got to get over 200. I can't go back to the bosses and not get over 200 likes on the Showdown show here for Kansas City, Tennessee. Tyler Zander doing a great job behind the virtual glass. Thank you to him. Thank you to No House Advantage, our lovely sponsor site. I'm going to be working for another couple hours here doing a NBA video. Go over to the Odd Shopper channel. Do that for me. 15-game NBA slate incoming tomorrow. Yeah, you heard me right. Every single team playing. Then there's no NBA for Election Tuesday, so that's a whole thing. Check that out. Make sure you vote, too. Make sure you can vote. Those are important things. You can complain if you vote. You can't if you don't. That's the way I look at it. But we are at lock. Did you get your lineups in, Neil?
Literally like seconds ago. That got my heart racing more than the sweat did earlier, to be honest. I was
welcome.
Very close to
one of us. One of us. That's my guy. Because, losing out on that is the absolute worst. Any final words for the people as we get out of here, Neil Orfield?
Oh, good luck tonight. Let's win some money.
Oh, man. I need a napper. I need caffeine is what I need here at the moment. Thank you, Tyler Zander. Thank you, Neil Orfield. I'm Eric Lindquist. Go follow me at Eric Lindquist. Go follow Neil at PlayerQDFS. He's the only one now on Twitter.com. That's an important caveat. Got to throw that out there. You can find him. Impersonation no longer allowed on Twitter.com. That's a good thing. But let's go win some money. Let's go watch a good football game, I hope. Question mark?
I hope so. It'll be an interesting one.
Go Tony. Go MVS. We'll see you guys next time. See you on Monday. A lot of great content coming your way.